Ancient maps. They're not just dusty relics, but windows into how our ancestors saw the world. And one map, the Piri Reis chart from 1513, might just turn everything we thought we knew about early exploration on its head.
Oh, that sounds intriguing. What makes this particular map so special?
Well, the Piri Reis Map has been at the center of some wild theories about lost civilizations and ancient knowledge. It's a Portolan chart, a type of nautical map known for its accuracy in depicting coastlines, created by an Ottoman Turkish admiral named Piri Reis.
I've heard of Portolan charts before. They were pretty cutting edge for their time, right?
Exactly. These charts, developed in the Middle Ages, relied on dead reckoning and compass bearings. They're characterized by those distinctive crisscrossing rhumb lines, which represented courses with constant bearings relative to true north.
So, how did Piri Reis create this map? I mean, he couldn't exactly hop on Google Earth, right?
No, definitely not. Piri Reis claimed to have used about 20 different sources, including charts and mappae mundi, medieval world maps. He even boasted that no other map in existence could rival his creation.
20 sources? That's impressive. What kind of sources are we talking about?
Well, he mentions 8 Jaferia charts, which he attributes to the time of Alexander the Great. Now that sounds ancient, but it's more likely he was referring to copies of maps based on the work of Claudius Ptolemy, a renowned geographer from the 2nd century CE.
Still pretty old, though. What else?
He also used an Arabic map of India, several Portuguese maps depicting Asia, and, get this, a map by Christopher Columbus himself for parts of the Americas.
Wait, what? A map by Columbus? That's incredible. I had no idea any of his maps had survived.
Well, that's the thing. No known maps directly attributed to Columbus exist today, but it's likely his map resembled one created in 1500 by Juan de la Cosa, a cartographer who sailed with Columbus.
Oh, I see. So, with all these sources, how accurate is the Piri Reis map?
Like many maps of its era, it has its share of inaccuracies. The depiction of the Caribbean, for instance, is quite distorted. There's a large island that some speculate might be Cuba, but its orientation is way off. Others even propose it might represent Japan.
Japan? In the Caribbean? That seems, well, a bit far-fetched.
It does now, but remember, during Columbus's time, many believed that the Caribbean islands were close to Asia. Numerous maps from that period incorrectly depict the New World connected to East Asia.
Wow, that's a pretty significant geographical misunderstanding. So what's the most accurate part of the map?
The coastline of Brazil is actually quite well represented, likely based on information from Portuguese explorer Pedro Álvares Cabral. However, even there, we see errors, like the Amazon River appearing twice.
Interesting. But what about these claims I've heard that the Piri Reis map shows Antarctica? That's what really caught my attention.
Ah yes, the Antarctica theory. This claim gained traction thanks to Charles Hapgood's book, Maps of the Ancient Sea Kings. Hapgood argued that the southern portion of the map shows Antarctica, and since Antarctica wasn't discovered until the 19th century, Piri Reis must have had access to incredibly ancient sources.
That's quite a leap. What kind of ancient sources are we talking about?
Well, Hapgood went even further, suggesting that this knowledge originated from a technologically advanced civilization that predated the last ice age, more than 10,000 years ago. He even proposed that this civilization inhabited Antarctica, when it had a warmer climate.
But, and correct me if I'm wrong here, didn't Antarctica have a warm climate millions of years ago? Not thousands?
You're absolutely right. Scientific evidence indicates that Antarctica was much warmer during the Eocene epoch, around 40–50 million years ago, and potentially even a tropical rainforest during the Cretaceous period, some 90 million years ago.
So, Hapgood's timeline is way off. How did he explain that discrepancy?
this is where things get even more speculative. Hapgood proposed a cataclysmic pole shift hypothesis, suggesting that accumulating polar ice destabilized Earth's rotation, causing the planet's crust to shift without affecting its axial orientation.
That sounds, well, highly improbable.
It is. Even Albert Einstein pointed out the flaws in this theory. Hapgood later revised it, suggesting that the forces causing the crustal displacement originated beneath the surface. However, this idea has been thoroughly debunked by scientific data.
So, if it's not Antarctica on the map, what is it?
It's possible that Piri Reis borrowed the concept of a southern continent from earlier maps. Some 16th century maps depict a landmass connected to South America, an idea that traces back to ancient Greek philosophers who hypothesized the existence of a southern landmass to balance out the northern continents.
So they just guessed?
Essentially, yes. They happened to be right about a southern continent, but they also imagined many other lands that never existed. You know, it's a bit like throwing darts blindfolded. Sometimes you hit the bullseye by sheer luck.
That's fascinating. So what do you think this southern landmass on Piri Reis's map actually represents?
Well, I'm not convinced it's meant to be Antarctica at all. If you look closely, it doesn't extend from the southern tip of South America where Antarctica should be. Instead, it seems to protrude from Brazil, thousands of miles off.
That's a significant error.
It is. Additionally, Piri Reis included notes describing this area, and they don't match what we know about Antarctica at all. He describes it as a hot region inhabited by large snakes and strange creatures.
Well, that definitely doesn't sound like the frozen continent we know today.
Not at all. He even mentions that he obtained this information from Portuguese sources, and while the Portuguese explored South America extensively, they never reached Antarctica.
So, what do you make of it then?
If you rotate the map slightly, this southern section aligns roughly with the southern coast of South America. It's likely that Piri Reis, attempting to fit the entirety of South America onto his map, ended up distorting this southern portion.
That makes a lot more sense than a 10,000-year-old map of Antarctica.
It does. While the Piri Reis Map is undoubtedly a fascinating historical artifact, it's crucial to interpret it within the context of 16th century cartography. It's not evidence of ancient advanced civilizations or alien intervention.
You know, it's amazing how a single map can be misinterpreted to support such extraordinary claims.
That's the allure and danger of pseudo-archaeology. People often start with a conclusion they want to believe and then cherry-pick evidence to support it, rather than letting the evidence guide them to the truth.
It's a good reminder to approach historical artifacts with a critical eye and consider them within their proper historical context.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up this episode, I think it's worth considering. What maps are we creating today that future generations might misinterpret? Our digital footprints, our understanding of the universe. How might they be viewed centuries from now?
Oh, that's a thought-provoking question. It really puts our current knowledge into perspective.
It does. And it reminds us that while we've come a long way in our understanding of the world, there's still so much to discover. Who knows what mysteries our own maps might hold for future explorers? Thank you for joining us on this journey through the mysteries of the Piri Reis Map. As we continue to uncover the secrets of our past, remember, there's always more to explore, more to question, and more to discover. If you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and follow us so you never miss a chapter. Next time, we'll dive deep into the ancient and enigmatic Book of Enoch, a text that has fascinated scholars and mystics for centuries. Stay tuned, stay curious, and as always, keep seeking the unexplained.